Hey guys, so today I want to run you through how to use Zoom, how to get set up on Zoom, and I suppose really why you should actually look at using Zoom as opposed to maybe doing sales calls over the phone and stuff like that. Okay, so the main purposes you'll probably use Zoom for are sales calls, catch up calls if you want to run those. Okay. Generally, as you scale your business and get a bit busier, catch up calls with clients probably aren't going to be a good thing to include. But early on, when you really want to over deliver, get good results, catch up calls and things like that can sometimes be handy. The other thing you'll want to use Zoom for as well is trainings. Okay. So again, down the line, you may want to do group live trainings with your clients. Okay, or some kind of live event. And Zoom's really good for all of that. So, in my opinion, it's really worth your time learning how to use Zoom and learning how to get the benefits of Zoom. Okay. So, for setting up Zoom, the first thing you want to do is go to zoom.us. Okay. You don't need to worry about that stuff in front of it, just zoom.us, and it'll take you through to a homepage. Okay. Now, I'm going to run you through the plans and the pricing for Zoom. Okay. There's personal and business. I'm not 100% sure what the differences are there. The pricing all looks the same. You're going to be using this for business, so you may as well have the business stuff on. If money's tight right now, you're just getting started out. You can go with free. Okay, you can go with the free one. However, there is limitations to free, and the big one is the 40-minute limit. So basically what happens with that is if you're on a Zoom call and it hits 35 minutes, a big warning comes up on the screen that it's going to close in 5 minutes, okay? And then it'll start to tick down. What you don't want is to be on a sales call with a client. Typically, I always say give an hour for a sales call. By the time you've ran through everything, answered everyone's questions, and actually take payment, that should be coming in close to an hour. If you can do all that in under 40 minutes, you either haven't really went through the problems with the client properly. You've probably rushed through things, but if you have done it and you're getting the sale within the 40-minute mark, you're doing very well. Okay. So the last thing you want to do is have a sales call with somebody on Zoom. They say, yeah, I'm happy to go ahead. Let me go and grab my card. Okay. It takes them 5 minutes arsing about to try and find their card. This will happen to you. Okay. And your Zoom closes down. Okay. Because then you have to set up a new Zoom link. You have to send it through to them and you have to pray to God that they actually join it and still want to buy. Okay. So that also looks a wee bit unprofessional as well. Like they're going to be like, why is this guy not paying for Zoom? So that's why I would recommend the Pro version. You're never going to have that issue with Pro. So if you can't afford it, go for it. You can change the currency here, euros, dollars, whatever. I've got it in pounds. I use the Pro one. As you can see, it's my current plan. Don't need anything above Pro. It's perfect. Okay. You can either buy it for the year. Okay. You save £23, or you can just pay for it monthly. I mean, for the sake of £23, you may as well pay it monthly, for right now. I do it annually because I know I need it. So I may as well get the saving. So anyway, that is Zoom. So that's what I want you to do is sign up for either this one just to get yourself started, but ultimately Pro is going to be where you want to go with it long term. Now, once you're all set up, you're going to see a sort of back end like this. Okay. So you want to sort of work your way through the different settings here. We don't need to go through absolutely everything, but really what you want to do is get the email that you've signed up with and the calendar that you plan on using, especially that you plan on using with Calendly for booking in your sales calls and things like that, is get that all integrated. Okay, so this is a work email I have, Stephen at fitprotechconsultants.com. That's my Zoom account. That's where it's all set up. And that links into my calendar in Outlook. Okay, so that's that little blue symbol is the Outlook, because I use Outlook. You'll maybe use Gmail, Google Calendar, or whatever. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is get that all set up and integrated there. And then once you have all of this set up, you can plug this into the integration side of Calendly. Okay, so watch the Calendly training again if you haven't already, and link your Zoom in. What that's going to allow people to do is whenever they want to book in for a sales call with you, is they're going to be able to pick Zoom as an option. And then from there, people can book in for a Zoom call. that will link into your calendar with the Zoom invite, and it will automatically send them a Zoom invite as well for their calendar. Okay, very, very slick way of having all this set up. And that's basically the way that you want to have that all set up. Okay, so the reason for using Zoom over the likes of a sales call is you can see each other's faces. You can tell if the client is actually taking in what you're saying, if they're, looking at their phone, or if there's somebody else in the room sort of chatting in their ear. If you're on a phone, you can't see any of that. Okay, I feel like being face to face is much more personal during a sales call, and you just to get a higher close rate off the back of it. So now this is all set up, what I'm going to do is show you how the actual Zoom client will work when you've it downloaded onto your laptop, okay, or your computer or whatever. So this is the actual Zoom app, okay? You want to have this pretty much running all the time. Mainly in my opinion, just because whenever you are wanting to start a sales call or whatever, you can just quickly jump in and hit start here. Sometimes if you get that sort of 5-minute, 15-minute reminder in your calendar that you have a sales call coming up, you go to open the Zoom when it's time to do it. There's maybe an update or something that just slows it down. So I would just keep it open all the time so you're ready to just jump in. There's tons of different features here. You can just create a quick Zoom just by hitting new meeting, or you can schedule a Zoom manually with somebody. So you just hit schedule, you name it whatever you like, set the time and date. I normally take the passcode off. Feel like there's no real need for that. Turn all the videos on by default. What's handy as well is you can automatically record the meeting as soon as it starts. So if you're doing a training, you don't have to remember. And then you just hit the blue button to actually save it. That'll import it into your calendar. And then you can invite whoever you want off the back of that. Oh. So canceling out of that. There's tons of settings here as well that are worthwhile looking through. So once you've actually got this up and running, you might want to go through the settings and just make sure everything works for you. I have 2 monitors, so I use the dual monitors function. Entering full screen when starting to join the meeting, I don't really like. Find it just sort of takes up the whole screen. And then if you want to show them something or share a screen, it becomes a bit of hassle. So there's tons of different things. You just want to play through that with them, decide what you like. Video, it'll come on to your camera, so you can choose different cameras as well. I have a separate 4K camera that I use, as the MacBook one built in is not that great. Have HD on as well, so it's a bit clearer for people. Everything else is just sort of default settings there. One thing in audio, though, again, I use a separate microphone than the MacBook one. Just find Rodes are far better. One thing I would point out, which I think is great, is the suppressed background noise. So I have it on high, okay? The reason I do that is because I sort of work from home most of the time, or I'm working remotely. There's typically a lot of background noise. So I have a dog. He'll maybe bark in the background if the postman comes or something like that. It's a bit unprofessional if I'm trying to talk to somebody about joining the program, not even hears this dog barking. Same with like the doorbell ringing. And also right now where I live, it's a new development. So there's building constantly going on around me, building noises. So that keeps it all off of the Zoom. So if you're working from home, that's a really, really, really good option to have turned on. And the rest of the stuff here, again, you just sort of want to work through. They're just sort of personal preference stuff, really. It's nothing too crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much how all that works. So if I open up a new meeting here, I'll just show you how Zoom works. So you always want to hit join with computer audio. Okay. So whenever these 2 symbols look like this, that means they are they're turned on and working. Okay. Sometimes it'll look like there's maybe like a little arrow on these. That means you haven't actually hit the function. So if your mute button doesn't look like this, then what's happening basically is the other person probably not going to be able to hear you. Okay. Same with the video. Again, if it's not showing like the full symbol here, they're not going to be able to see you. Okay. If you want to start recording something, you can just hit record. If you want to share screens with somebody, you can just hit share screen. Okay. And then you pick which screen it is you actually want to share. If you want to, if there is an issue with the video or the audio, you can send an an instant message to them. So, you can do stuff like that. If you are waiting on letting somebody into the room, okay, so they've joined, but they're sitting in the waiting room, they'll pop up here and you can let them in. Sharing screen as well. If you want to let somebody else share the screen, rather than making them a co-host, which a lot of people sort of fart about with, if you actually just hit multiple participants can share simultaneously, that'll allow other people to share their screens as well. And that's really it. That's Zoom in a nutshell. I sort of run through why you might want to use it. You want to have it linked into Calendly. And yeah, any questions about Zoom, feel free to pop them into the Facebook support group. More than happy to answer them for you. But yeah, definitely get on it. It's a great tool and it's going to massively help your business.